Charles lived for music. He, here in the apartment, he was at the piano all the time. It was where he found his peace, where he found the center of his being. He would rise up sometimes at night and say the music was waiting for him on the keys when he was composing. He had great virtuosity on the bass. This is your weakest finger, and he made it his swiftest finger, so the story went, practicing 8 hours a day. And he took credit for his virtuosity on the bass, but he said the melody comes from God. And he had a very mystical sense about music and about his gifts. But he spent hours at the piano, reflecting, meditating, composing. And at a certain point, I turned on a tape recorder because often his imagination was so fertile and he had so many ideas that he would forget and lose many of those ideas. So we have tapes now that probably contain compositions that one day we'll get to arranging. There's so many spaces in Charles's music for musicians to come in and bring their own voices, which is what he intended. He always used to say, play yourself, bring yourself into the music. So it's this wonderful balance of powerful written composition and also the looseness and the originality of the players themselves who come in and bring their side of the story. After years of trying and being nominated, we were nominated about 10 times. We finally won the Grammy this year. We're very proud of the Mingus Big Band playing live at the Jazz Standard. All the music that we play, because Charles normally played with a quintet, so all of our arrangements are new. And Gunther Schuller has made arrangements, Cy Johnson, a number of the musicians in the band, most recently our bass player, Boris Kozlov, has made magnificent arrangements. And they're all different, of course. I mean, if you're arranging for the Mingus Dynasty, there are 7 instruments. The orchestra's 10 instruments. The big band is 14 instruments. But it's all Mingus music. And these are all different arrangements because Charles didn't have a big band. He would love to have had a big band at his disposal every week. That's the great irony, that we're able to in this larger context, with all its harmonic changes and rhythmic changes, it deserves the large context it has now. But Charles didn't have that privilege. It was a matter of economics when he was playing. You know, there are extended works, there's Latin music, there's the blues, there are these lush ballads, there's Dixie. It's such a range that it's always hard. Whenever I produce a record, I always feel like I'm shortchanging Charles somehow, because you have to have a concept. We have one album that's called Blues and Politics. And then I think about all the extended works we're not including, or all the great Latin pieces. So it's hard to narrow down. I mean, the Black Saint and Sinner Lady is the first album I ever bought by accident. I knew nothing about Mingus. But it's one of his great extended works. His most popular works probably are the ones that have the tunes that people are most familiar with, are the 2 Columbia record albums from 1959 called Mingus Dynasty, was the name of an album, not to be confused with the band, and Mingus Aum. Mingus Aum may have the most recognizable Mingus tunes. Better Get Hid in Your Soul, Fables of Faubus, Goodbye Pork Pie Hat, and so forth. Well, it's a thrill. I mean, Tanglewood is it's just one of the most magnificent places to perform. And I have friends that go there every year. They have picnics outdoors, and we're thrilled. We're delighted to be able to come back there, and especially with Gunther Schuller, who really belongs there. I mean, and he won a Pulitzer Prize when his wife died. He said that he couldn't compose for about a year, and then after about a year, everything just came rushing through him, all the melodies. And he wrote a piece, I think it was called something like Remembrances and Reflections about Marjorie, and it won the Pulitzer that year.